All right, guys, Steve Banoon here with Israeli News Live. And, I have covered Charlie Kirk at great depth. And I have gone multiple videos there. In fact, also Project Constitution, the former Marine sniper, has also covered this at great depth as well. He's the guy that found the reflection of what looks like a muzzle flash in the window. It is he's was actually he as well that discovered the bullet that I'll show with you right here real quick that was captured midair there. It's going to come right. This is a been somebody's done copied again. You can barely see it there though. You see it right about there. There it is right there. That's a very bad view of it. It's been copied so many times. Somebody else copied that there. Let me pull up here where, gosh, which video did I have him in here? Um, I've done, I think, 4 videos on this already, and and each time I do it, there's always something new that comes out. One of the real big issues, I've done the sound signature in this video right here. I think it's one of the first ones I did, is where I talk about the laser, the infrared laser that's caught in Frank's phone right there. Let's see if 25% of the speed of the frame, so that way I can get a hold of this and move this slowly. Now I want you to watch. You see reflections on his phone, right? Just from different things. It's actually even himself. You can see his own shirt and face reflect off of there. And he turns that phone just a little bit as he's going there. He's filming Charlie, just a little tight reflection there. Watch what happens now. We're going to get close here. Something's going to happen on the screen of the phone. Watch what happens. Now notice it is perfectly, if you go directly straight up from Charlie's neck down to that phone, it is perfectly in line. Now I want to make it clear. This guy is not the shooter. He has nothing to do with it. He's actually, though, he's got the evidence that every police department needs to see. Let's move it up just a little bit more. And the guy here in the front, he's not the shooter either. Yeah, he's got a reflection there of the laser in Charlie's phone right there. I'll photograph that for you real quick and let's blow it up. But that's not what I wanted to talk to you about. There it is right there. So you got an infrared laser there that captures in his phone. I believe that either Charlie was shot in the neck or Charlie was shot in the head just above his ear. And I've had
Just like
differing
sunlight, right?
I've had differing opinions in different videos there as I have tried to uncover more and more. Like in this case here, by the way, that the reason why you're seeing it looks like half of Charlie's ear is missing right there, that's his earpiece coming out of his ear. All right. Now, in this video here, that's the sign and behind him, the letters on the sign and behind Charlie. And that is a blood splatter up in the air. It's not the earpiece. The earpiece is right here. It's not up there. So in this video here, I show it and it looks like, we'll see. That's this one here. We're going to take and blow that up for you too. I don't show the motion of what happens, so I try to be very cautious on that. I think we already got that too, but let me just make sure. All right. But I do believe, if I remember right on this one here, I capture it in a couple of different motions here, where it looks like the blood comes out. Charlie, okay? I'll tell you what we'll do. For respect for Charlie, I'm going to do some pictures here, and let's just do it that way there. All right? That's one. Oh, sorry. Well, yeah, that's The point is, in this video here, I deal with the blood splatter and suggest perhaps the bullet hit him at the above his ear and came out of his neck, which would put the shooter much higher. There's this new theory. By the way, this guy here, he talks about he's standing there in front of Charlie. He looks to his left when he heard the gunshot. That's very common for people that hear to look in the direction of the shooter is. Here's a new theory that's being put forth, though, now is the guy right here with the camera. If Charlie was actually hit in the lower part of his neck there and the shirt covered up the wound, and I have proposed that as a possible theory, catching in the side there, coming out this left side of the front, then I was looking for a shooter to be back in this area. With that being said, I'm going to slow down a half-speed frame. I want you to see they blur Charlie out, so thank you for that, whoever did this video. I want you to watch this guy, though, and this is only theoretically. I do believe the muzzle flash was caught in the window, like the Marine that's the former sniper says, and I'll show you that in a moment, too. But this was a possible theory. I kept looking for someone back in here. Someone shows the gun stock that you can put a camera on. When I was working with the CIA, yes, we did have a gun like that, and it was a gun. The camera was a gun. I don't believe he is, but there is some thoughts that go in there. You see no type of muzzle flash, but normally what it is the gun is in the inside of the lens. The lens is only fake. That's the way we did it back in the old days. But it's kind of his reaction that a lot of people look at. He steps forward, he looks, walks back a little bit, and then he's going to exit very calmly. He doesn't rush out. And that is a bit suspicious. I agree. Now, does it make him the shooter? I don't think so, personally. And it's mainly, and I'm going to back it up again. I want you to hear the sound signature because this one actually has a pretty doggone good sound signature on this one here, even though they're not right up on top of it. But it doesn't sound like it's from there. Just listen. Could it be? There is that possibility. But something, though, that I was asked about, and I was actually asked about it by Constitution. It's kind of funny because I was literally, he'd actually asked me about the guy in the bush, or the bush, that's a theory that's being put forth. And I shared with him something that I had done as well. This was from a few days ago. I had taken and I had zoomed in on that. And I made a comment. I said, well, maybe it's a guy in a ghillie suit, but it looks more like a bush, is what it looks like. And I did notice, though, perhaps there's a person's face there. You got a nose, two eyes, but I kind of brushed it off just as a bush. And I thought, well, maybe it's another flower pot on top of a flower pot. Well, then today I began to think about this. And I thought, okay, well, what if it's not a pot? What if it really is a person there? Well, I thought if it's a person, then it wouldn't be there any longer. And the reason why I did not think it was a person, if you ever look at let me go to the actual images of that. It's right. No, that's the aftermath. I don't have it there. Well, maybe I have it in my original pictures there. So let me take and pull that up. When I first started looking at this, I did a lot of photos. All right, the people that are right down there, watch this here. Let me see, there's the people on the floor right below it. The stairwell is, let me blow this whole thing up for you guys. That's the stairwell right there. Okay, right there. I can actually draw stuff on here for you. All right, this is right there highlighted in yellow. That's the stairwell. The thing that kind of threw me off, too, was I looked over here, and again, we'll keep it yellow. I looked at the height of the people in comparison with the height of what's sitting right here. And now I did not consider the fact that there could be a little bit of a balcony or that something could be pressed down, but it's actually right near the stairwell that you see the muzzle flash in Constitution's video, right? So then I started thinking, okay, there's a lot of people that did a lot of videos afterwards. Now, the tent was right here, okay? That muzzle flash is right in this area here. If you were to look up here, it was right here next to this stairwell. Now, could it have been that that flash was picked up right here? Maybe. I don't know if the stair rail is an iron stair rail, but is that a concrete part there or not? I don't know. But would it have blocked the view? But the first thing I began to look at, though, is as I looked, I still saw something up there like it was before. So I decided again, let's zoom in on that object up there to see is that still the plant that was there? Well, the odd thing is, this time around when I zoomed up there, um, now granted, here's my original zoom, just so you can see. This is where it did look like possibly a face, a nose right here, an eye right there, and an eye right here. And I thought maybe a ghillie suit, right? But it's kind of throws you off because you see all these bars here. But the more you look at this thing, there is a rail up there too then. And so then what I did is I did like this. Right now I'm trying to see if I can find it now, right? Let's see. Uh, Here we go. Now I've zoomed in closer. The rail's right here. It does appear there's a rail there, but it's not quite as clear. And you can see the rail actually comes across here as well. But because the camera guy is much further out, it's not as clear. So then we take, and we could do it even now. I've already done this already, but I'll do it for you guys to see. And by the way, here's the stairs right there. And that is a concrete wall right there. So could it have flashed off of there? Theoretically, probably so. But let's just look to see, is this a plant? All right. So I zoomed in closer, pull down here on there. And now I don't see the bushy like look that there was before. But there again, it's not clear. So I don't really know. But it does seem to be shorter than what it was. If we go back to, let's see here, it seems to be shorter than that one. Okay. And just to show you that I was doing all this, let me just kind of take and if I close this out, you'll see it. All right, here's all my original photos, right? This even, by the way, this one here I also wanted to look at, and that's a top view. There's that weird looking thing right there, but I can't really get a good view of it because of the red line in there. So I did take, and I did like that. And then what I did is I blew up as close as I could. I still can't tell if there's a plant there or not. Even if I double did that, you still can't really tell, but it's just a different view right there, right? All right, so again, if you follow back up, uh, this is where I photographed it right here. This was my original one that I did, and it should show us the date. Let's see. Um, those are showing 23rd. Hang on. Go back further then. Find the original. Here it is right here. On the 17th is when I originally looked at this. This is when I was looking at it more cautiously, trying to figure out what that was. And I'm like, gosh, what is that? And I'd zoom in on the thing and I'd say, well, it's just a plant. That's all it looks like to me. It's just a plant. Um, and then I did say, well, it could theoretically be someone in a ghillie suit. This was my closer up image there. And so then I really tried to zoom in on it to look at it. And it does look like a human face there in the picture. It does appear to be a nose, maybe a couple of eyes there. And again, I just can't really tell, but that's my best imagery that I could come up with. And as you can see, that was done on the 17th. These here are today from the 23rd, where I'm re-examining this again. If you can find a closer up image after the shooting, could send that to me. I'd like to look at that. That would be, and I kind of also began to look at this because it would actually be to where if it went in, even if it went into the side of Charlie's head there, was Charlie's head tilted just a slight bit? Possibly. I don't really know. So I'm kind of a loss at it. I don't know what to think, but I wanted to share that with you guys. I know that me and my friend there over here on Twitter, there, the former Marine sniper, he did a remarkable job, and I talk about him. Which one was it in? Um, Actually, in this one here, sound signature pinpoints Charlie Kirk's shooter. I go into the reason why I think Charlie was targeted as well. I do believe it has to do with the fact that Charlie, he went off script. All right, let's play this little clip right here again, too. I think this has everything to do with why Charlie was targeted.
Listen, so I've been to Israel many times. The whole country is a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still had the same gut instinct that I did initially. I find this very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border. You cannot go 10 feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that is an IDF soldier, right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order?
See that? Who did that? The guy that was at the beginning of the video there. This guy right here. Right? Why? Because he's challenging the narrative. Not only that, he challenges the war with Iran. He didn't think it was right to go to war with Iran. I mean, look, our family knows firsthand what the threat was for him. There are those like Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, who have made it clear that he was afraid of Israel. We should have been. We also were very pro-Zionist, like Charlie was originally. But we didn't affect that younger voting generation on college campuses all the way across the United States with a pro-Israel message that suddenly turns away from being pro-Israel and begins to question the narrative. So much that, according to alleged reports, they wanted to pull funding from Charlie, and they did from what we've heard as well. We went through the same thing. A little over a year before we were injected with 21 mils of peroxide, which I find very odd. 21 mils, 21st degree Mason, who is the Noahide executioner for those that violate Noahide laws. We had 2 Israelis that showed up at a church in just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, Mark and Susan's church there, threatening us, telling us that we needed to get back on track with our, well, they're referring to back to the Zionist agenda that we'd been so proud of at one time. But no, we had taken a change. Yana began to expose the Noahide laws like never before. I began to do teachings proving that Israel doesn't have the right to be a modern state today, that it was not biblical. And I've done a slew of messages on that. Well, then they tried to kill us. And my father-in-law did pay, just like Charlie died, my father-in-law died as a result. And Carrie Madej was found guilty by a default judgment in a civil case already. And it's still not over. But you want to talk about a lot of people trying to cover that case up? So I get what Charlie may have been up against, and I'll just say that theoretically. So I cover that in there. And it's probably another reason why I've been so passionate to try to find his true assassin. But now we see every kind of narrative you can possibly imagine. Everybody's an expert, and I'm no expert. I just feel for this family because I know what it's like to go against the grain, to go against Israel, and to nearly pay with your life as a result. Charlie did. So this is why we are looking deeper into the narrative here. And then, of course, the Tyler guy. Did he crawl up on the roof? No doubt he crawled up on the roof. Did he shoot Charlie? I don't believe he did. A 30-06? Now they're trying to say at one point the FBI was saying that they were looking for the bullet that exited Charlie, trying to find that bullet. Now suddenly Charlie is the man of steel and stopped the bullet. If truly God was with him to stop the bullet inside of his neck, God would have not let the bullet hit Charlie in the first place. I don't believe that. I do believe Charlie was a courageous man for speaking his heart. You know, did he say a lot of things that were not right before all this happened, before he began to wake up? Sure, he did. So did I. I was very pro Israel at one point, majorly pro Israel. But once we recognize the truth, we begin to tell you what the truth was. It took me time, just like it was with Charlie. It was taking him time. But newspapers in Israel wrote articles against him, calling him anti Semitic. He says that with Megyn Kelly. So, this is the type things that we're dealing with here. And then let me see here. Where was it that I had? Maybe it was this one. Yeah, the bullet here. This was the Marine sniper here. He's the one that actually caught that reflection in the window, and he also captured the bullet. He's the guy that discovered that midair. And he actually plays in his video, he plays a clip of me talking about the laser caught in Frank's phone.
That's a muzzle flash. Anyway, the flash, we're looking top left up here, guys. We go, we're going to count frames. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right, 8 frames. 9, 10 is when he gets hit. So we're going to go 8 frames.
So, and if indeed that is a muzzle flash, and the guy down here with the camera back in behind has nothing to do with Charlie being shot. And that bullet is discovered right there, or it's caught with the guy's black shirt background. So could the shooter have been theoretically right in that area somewhere? Possibly so. Could it be where this alleged bush was? Possibly so. It definitely doesn't seem to be there now. Unless someone finds me a better, there may be a better picture out there. Like I said, there could be a better picture out there. This is what I was seeing when I zoomed in on it. It almost looks like a table right there, and it looks like a pot sitting on top of a table is what it looks like. Looks like flowers right here. Could look like flowers right there. The only thing that has made me kind of second guess that is now, even though there's still something sitting there and the table still looks to be right there, no matter what I do to blow up and to get closer to that image, it looks nothing like that now. Okay, look at that, and look at this. Now, clearly, that is a much clearer picture. That's why I would like to get a clearer picture now, because I don't have a clear picture. But nothing that I can see there actually resembles as much as that. And you can see clearly the table. And it looks like there is a table there, but it is all blurry. So that's what I'm trying to find out. Do we have a better picture somewhere where there's a better video footage like I found initially that would allow me to see, see it that clear to see if that still is a bush-looking object up there, or is it no longer a bush-looking object? And I don't know. And that was my close-up of it there. That's where I zoomed in as close as I could get. And I just don't know the answer, guys. Anyway, Stephen Benoon, listen, check out I'll put a link in the description for you, patreon.com/Israeli News Live. We loaded 2 videos here in the last couple of days here. I go deeper on that message I shared with you guys yesterday, as I promised I would. Go deeper on there. I hope you'll enjoy that. Tomorrow morning, I am doing a very special inside look on Venezuela, why President Trump really has those ships there. I know you guys think that the man is there to control the drug cartel, Nicolas Maduro. 2 reasons. The oil, that's probably number one, but I know for a fact these politicians aren't getting the kickbacks that they used to get on the drug money coming in this country because Maduro found a way around them. That's the reason why they're stopping the drug cartel. You have no idea. I lived it, breathed it for 7 years, and I know just what they'll do to shut you up if you dare expose it. Check it out on Patreon. I'll tell you things that you've never even heard before. Steve Benoon with Israeli News Live. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope this somehow, maybe somebody will get me a clip of a video. By the way, if you want to send me a clip, send it to me there on X. All you got to do is go to my Twitter on X there. It is under my pen name that I write under, Stephen Benoon. Check out John there. John's secretary sent me a message to want to get me on over there. Also, Mike Adams. We've been on with Mike. Mike's going to be coming on Israeli News Live, by the way, hopefully next week. We're trying to set that time up on there as well. So hopefully you guys will join us when we have Mike on. Here we go. Israeli News Live at Stephen Dinoon. Dinoon is my pen name that I write under. It still means the same as Benoon. It's the French version of that. And no, I'm not in the Czech Republic any longer. I guess I've never updated that since 2016. So that is my correct year of birth, though. So God bless you guys. Thank you for listening.